Hello, teachers. First and foremost, thank you very much for purchasing a STEM lab from my store. I do have a strong passion for curriculum development, so it means a lot that you've put money into my dream. This video goes over how to interact with my digital labs. This assumes that you already know how to assign digital labs onto your Google Classroom. If you need to still learn how to upload your labs to your Google Classroom, please check out my other videos, a part of my how-to series, How to Upload Digital Labs to Your Google Classroom. To begin, your student should locate the lab assignment on your Google Classroom stream and open up their individual Google Slide presentation. Their screen will look slightly different because they are a student and this is from the teacher point of view. Their lab will be in the upper right-hand corner with their name attached. From here, your students can start to fill out your labs via slides. The very first part of my lab is the most complicated part to complete on the digital lab portion. First, I'm going to zoom in so we get a better view. Now, right in this space, we are going to create a drawing or a blueprint of our model that we are going to create. In this case, we are going to build a rocket. Up here in the kind of middle-ish left-hand side, you have the options to create lines, arrows, elbow connectors, curved connectors, curves, polylines, and scribbles. We're going to use the scribble tool today. From here, your students are actually going to be able to draw everything that they are going to create. However, this is where it gets a little tricky with kids and their thumb strength and their fine motor skills. An external mouse will do wonders for them because in order for this actual tool to draw, the student needs to hold down the button and start to draw the lines. And then a shape will be created. After each line that is drawn, they are going to have to go back and click the scribble tool again because Google loves to automatically take you right back to the arrow tool. So since I drew this circle, I'm going to go right back to the scribble tool and start drawing again. This is going to be my cardstock rolled up into a piece of paper. Then I know that I'm going to want maybe some wings on it. And again, after each shape I make, I have to go up to the scribble tool and click on it. The first few times your students will get frustrated because it requires a lot of finger dexterity. As it goes on, they will learn to have a lot of fun with it. Okay, so we've got a thick straw with, I'm going to put construction paper around it. So now I can either scribble the arrow right here and say this is my cardstock and thick straw. So I'm going to include a text box, draw it out, and type cardstock plus thick straw. You will find that you have some kids that are very tech savvy and can start highlighting their letters and their words and have it shrink down and change the colors and the fonts. And make sure that you put parameters on what you are comfortable with them doing, because if you let them have a little bit too much freedom, you'll find that they spend all of their time on their blueprint and not enough time actually creating their model. This is the part where the physical lab does have its advantages, as drawing out the actual materials are easier than drawing it out on a computer screen. Okay, so inside the big cardstock and thick straw, I'm going to have the little straw. So I'm going to draw my little straw right there. I'm going to add another text box next to it. Say thin straw. And maybe I want to use the actual arrow tool for this one, in which case I can just drag and drop. Finally, the last material I have on my list is the landing pad. So maybe I want to create a circle and draw my landing pad over here. Fun fact, if you click on the shape, you double click on the shape, it turns into a giant text box. So we can even type in landing pad. And there we have it. Our blueprint is complete. Now, if I am following the scientific method, I am able to go ahead and get my materials. And if I have any questions, I can go back and look at my assignment and remember what is my next step. The parts of the lab that are the easiest to respond to are the open-ended questions, observations, and vocabulary. So for example, on our first open-ended question under the Think and Respond, it asks the student, how might information on forests help you in the future? In this case, all the student has to do is click on the text box that is provided and type in their response. Forests will help me understand how to move heavy objects in the future. Notice how even though I was typing more letters than the box provided, it shrunk down my text so that it still fit in the given space. This can be done for all of the vocabulary questions, analysis and reflection questions, and the conclusion. Once the student has clicked and entered text into the box, the border will go away. However, the student can still delete the text and continue to type properly. There are some parts of the lab, such as the Build a Rocket lab, that have the text box already filled in, such as where the accuracy scale is. In this case, the student is supposed to launch the rocket and see how close the rocket landed to their target. Now our code is 1, 2, and 3. 0 is not an option. Therefore, we know we must have to change this 0 to an actual number that matches the accuracy code. So if on my first launch I happen to get a score of 1, I would click on the 0, hit delete, and type in my 1. I can then do that for the following boxes after I have done each flight pattern or observation. Once your student has completed the blueprint, has received their materials, and completed their Think and Respond, they may now complete their actual lab. As they are completing their lab, they should be recording their observations as they see them. Finally, when they come back, they will have the opportunity to analyze and reflect on their process and then of course conclude. You are able to choose how you do this, be it whole class or independent work, and a lot of the time this depends on how far you are into the school year, as well as how far you are into each unit. The further you are into the unit on potential and kinetic energy, and the further you are into the school year, the more likely that this can become a more independent activity. However, if this is one of your first kinetic and potential energy STEM labs, you may want to guide them through the analysis and reflection and help them out with the conclusion. But once all of these parts are complete, the student has to go back to Google Classroom, and in the upper right-hand corner, there will be a button that says Turn In. Once they have clicked that Turn In button, they are unable to edit their slideshow until you have returned it to them. Once the lab is completed and you are ready to grade, you can move on by heading over to your Google Classroom teacher page. There are 2 tabs in the upper left-hand corner, Instructions and Student Work. Click on Student Work and navigate to the student that you wish to grade. For questions on how to actually grade each individual lab, please look at the key that was provided with the assignment that you downloaded through Teachers Pay Teachers. How I like to show students how they received each grade is by clicking +1 for Blueprint, +1 for Think and Respond, +1 for Observations. And then what I can do is copy this and paste it as a template for private comments for each student's work. So when I click the arrows for my next student, I can just go ahead and paste these comments and adjust it as needed for that student's work. From there, I can add up all of the points and put it into the gradebook. Thank you again for purchasing a STEM lab from Teaching in the Shark Tank. I hope you found this video helpful on how to interact with my digital labs. If you have any further questions, comments, concerns, or if I have made any mistakes, please do not hesitate to reach out through my Teachers Pay Teachers website or through emailing me at teachinginthesharktank@gmail.com. Have a wonderful day. Thank you again.